Okay, so in this video, I'm going to walk us through a solution or the process for solving this system of equations two different ways. First, we'll do it by hand using the elimination method, and then we'll do it in the calculator. So for one, the calculator will confirm our answer, and also it'll just demonstrate another way to do that, to do the find the solution. So for starters, if you notice, we've already got a two-variable system down here because only two variables exist amongst these two equations, and they're the same variable. Well, this is that's probably just a typo. Let me fix that. That should be a lowercase y. Okay, so there's a two-variable system here. There's two equations. We have a y and a z in one, and a y and a z in the other. The x is omitted in both cases. So we can actually just go ahead and solve this first via elimination. And if you notice, if we want to add these together and have either the y's or the z's cancel, it'll be easier to work with the y's because it'll just require us to multiply one of them by a negative. So I'll just pick this one. Why not? So multiply that by negative, and then when we go ahead and add these together, we're going to have a negative y here, a positive 2z, and a negative 11. So we can now add these together. That's going to cancel the y's. 5 plus 2 is 7z, and negative 52, that should be negative 63. So when you divide by 7 in this case, you're going to get negative 9 as an answer. And we can use this value of z to figure out what y must be, right? And we can do that for either of these equations. If you want to check both, that's a way to confirm we got the z value right. But, pick whichever one you'd like amongst the two. I'll just use the top, right? Because if y minus 2z being negative 9 equals 11, we can figure out what y is. This will be a positive 18. And when we subtract that positive 18 from the other side, we get a negative 7. So now I've got negative 7 for the y. I've got negative 9 for the z. We just need to figure out what is that x value, right? I'm just doing an ordered pair, by the way, or ordered group, as they call it, x, y, z, to stay organized. So at this point, we have to use this top equation, right? Because we're looking to find x. The difference being we know what y and z are. So it's going to be x minus 2 times our y, which we said was negative 7, plus 3 times our z, which was negative 9, and it needs to equal negative 9. So let's see. We're going to have a positive 14 here, right? Double negative is a positive 14, and then this is going to be a negative 27. So this positive 14 minus 27 should give us, what is that? 6 and 7 is 13. Negative 13. Negative 13. I'm just trying to save room by erasing. And then we just add 13 to the other side, in which case x will be 4. So the solution here should be 4, negative 7, negative 9 if we're viewing it as an ordered group. It depends. A lot of times the homework will just ask for what's x, what's y, what's z. It might even ask you to separate with a comma without the parentheses. But this is a solution here. Again, I didn't write it. I probably erased that, the y being negative 7. So let's show or demonstrate a way, because doing it by hand is very tedious. You will get the exact same result. And assuming that the test is just asking for the answer and not asking for any of the intermediary steps, doesn't matter which route you take, the answer is going to be the same. So another option would be to use a matrix operations. In particular, you set up a system as a matrix. You can use a calculator system too, or a calculator program, whatever. In this case, it's contained in the math module of the calculator. Anyways, we can use this to process all that algebra that we just worked under. So let's start by, I'll do it by hand first, right? So the way a matrix works is you've got to count the dimensions of your matrix. So we're going to count, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns and 1, 2, 3 rows. So this is a 3 by 4 matrix. 3 rows by 4 columns. I'm looking at a row as this is a row, this is a row, this is a row. And then columns, we have our X, which is in a sense its own column, but it's there. There's no sense. Well, I'll show you in the matrix what it plug into the matrix. And then we have the Y's, we have the Z's, and then we have the numbers. So there's 4 columns. Now when you go and set this up as a matrix, you need to account for every cell in that matrix. So for here, this term has a coefficient of 1. We're going to plug in all the coefficients. This has a coefficient of -2. This coefficient is a 3, and then we've got a -9. Now we don't have an x over here, so its coefficient is 0, right? 0 x's wouldn't show up. The fact that it's not there tells us there's 0 of them. Then we've got 1 y. We've got -2 z's and 11 as the number on the other side, and then again another 0 for our x, 1 for a y, 5 for a z, and then -52. So the calculator is just going to do all that elimination that we did, but process it for us for a fast result, and then we can check to see if our answer is correct. So the way you enter this into the calculator is, if you notice, oh, I'm sorry, it's not in the math option, it is in the matrix. Second, if you notice the x to the -1 in blue, that's the matrix module we want to use. So second x to the -1 is that matrix again, and then we just got to go over to edit so that we can edit a matrix. So here's where we got to enter the dimensions, 3 by 4. And then just type in those values. So we got 1, -2, 3, -9. Probably should pause this, huh? Yeah, you don't want to watch to type all those numbers in. So all the numbers are entered here. Be careful, you can hit enter as you go, or you can use the arrow keys to highlight the cell. Make sure all your numbers are correct. From here, you want to quit. So second, quit. Now we're going to go back to this matrix module here, but this time we want to do calculations with it. So this is the math I was thinking about. We want to go to math now because we actually want to do some math with the matrix we defined. And in this case, we're looking to get what's called reduced row echelon form. So you want to go all the way down to where it says RREF, 2 R's, reduced row echelon form. Hit enter, and you get the home screen here with your command. And now you got to specify which matrix you're using. So we go back, second matrix one more time, and then we edited the A matrix. So I'm going to hit enter, and hit enter, and it gives you the solution set in reduced row echelon form. So if you notice, there is the 4, -7, -9, and I'm just going to show you what's meant by reduced row echelon form real quick. Remember, these represent coefficients. We put this in reduced echelon form in a sense. We didn't demonstrate it as a matrix. But when we have the value of 1x plus 0 y's plus 0 z's, well, this side number is just going to be our x value, right? 1x plus nothing else. If we have 0 x's plus 1 y plus 0 z's, well, then this value has to be the value of our y, right? So there's the -7. And if we have 0 x's, 0 y's, and 1 z, well then that must be z, right? 1 z plus nothing else is the -9. So again, we have 4, -7, and -9 is the solution set. There is I guess it's the same thing, but there is I guess technically a third route. It's the same, it's some of the newer calculators. If you have a newer calculator, maybe you would prefer this method. They have I wonder if you know what? My calculator does not even have it. So, oh no, it does. I got apps. If you hit the apps button, some of the newer calculators have this program loaded in. It's called the Inequalities app, and it literally is the same thing that we just did. It's just, well, looks like mine just crashed. Hold on. Why did that happen? Apps, Inequalities. I'm not a fan of this route usually. Inequality graphic running, continue. Oh, maybe that's the wrong program. All right, I'm sorry. It's not the Inequalities. It's the Polysmith. Inequalities is something I use for another class. Polysmith. That's what we want. So if you click on Polysmith, we want the simultaneous equation solver. You probably tell this is not the route I usually take because I'm piecing together. So it's meant to be, in a sense, maybe more user-friendly of the version I just showed, this matrix option here. So this is another route. If you notice, we had 3 equations. 1, 2, 3 in the system. So you got to highlight 3, hit enter. And then we have 3 unknowns, an X, a Y, and a Z. So we'll go over and hit enter. As far as this, the automatic, it decides whether to express it as a fraction or a decimal, so that's fine. You want normal, you don't want to express it in scientific notation or anything else. Float is what you want. That essentially tells the calculator how to round. Floating is the option. And then this shouldn't matter, but degrees typically is where you go, and then radians for something else. So everything's good. And then you would hit next, which is going to be the graph button, right? That's the button that corresponds with that next, hit graph. And then here's where you type in those values. So it'd be 1, right? Same exact thing. It's literally the same thing. It just, maybe this one actually has the X's and Y's in there. So it's in a sense more user friendly because you can actually see those coefficients, So I'm going to enter these in. I'll pause it real quick to enter them a little faster. Okay, so once all those coefficients are entered, all you got to do is click the solve button, which again is going to be the graph. And it's, well, let's see. This is telling me it's all reals. Reduced row echelon form. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I must have punched in one of the numbers wrong. Let me go back and check. Let's see. Simultaneous equation solver. 3, 3 looks good. Let's do next. 1, -2, 3, -9, 0. Oh yeah, I did type a number in wrong. Look at that. This needs to be -2. And then this is, no, I did it right. This is a 1. What am I talking about? It's a 1. -2, 11. Oh, I see the mistake. It's down here. I don't know. I copied the same row over again. All right, well, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you probably didn't make that mistake. Maybe you did. 5, yep, look at this. 1 is the coefficient of Y. 5 is the coefficient of Z. And that's -52. All right, so now we'll try solving again. There's your values, 4, -7, -9. So just another third route. I wouldn't use all 3. In particular, I would pick whichever method you use, whether that polysmith we just showed at the end there, or that the matrix options. And then, of course, I showed how to do bialgebra as well. So if you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope you're well. Take care. Thanks. Bye.